Grand Admiral Zixvar stood on the bridge of his massive ship. His 6 eyes blinked as he looked at the blue-green planet on the large screen. Earth. Just another world to add to the hegemony's growing empire. Such a primitive species, Zixvar said to his second-in-command, Krell. They have only just reached their moon. Their weapons are basic, their nations fight among themselves. Krell nodded, his scaled skin reflecting the light from the screens. The reports say they will fall within days, Admiral. Begin the attack, Zixvar ordered. Target their military bases first, then their power sources. Standard procedure. The hegemony had conquered hundreds of worlds this way. Their ships were huge, their weapons powerful, and their shields unbeatable. Earth would be no different. Across the planet, people saw the ships appear in the sky. Large, dark shapes that blocked the sun. In cities, people stopped and pointed up. Some ran. Some took pictures. No one knew what to do. Samantha Miller was not surprised. As a Navy captain, she had been among the few told about the possibility of alien contact. She was in Washington, D.C. when the first bombs fell. The ground shook. Buildings crumbled. Smoke filled the air. Samantha ran from the Pentagon, which was now half destroyed. Her phone didn't work. No one's did. The aliens had knocked out all communications. Captain Miller, a voice called. It was Lieutenant Frank Jones, one of her team members. He was dirty and had a cut on his face, but he was alive. Jones, have you seen anyone else? Samantha asked. Alice, Wright is over there helping some injured people, Frank pointed. But I haven't seen anyone else from our unit. Samantha looked at the destruction around her. The most powerful military in the world was being taken apart like it was nothing. But she knew something the aliens didn't. We need to get to Colorado, she said. Now. Colorado? Why? Frank asked. My brother is there, Dr. Peter Miller. He works at a special research facility. If anyone can help us fight back, it's him. They found Alice Wright, a communications specialist, and explained the plan. They needed to travel across a country that was being invaded by aliens. It wouldn't be easy. They found a military jeep that still worked and began their journey west. On the road, they saw the invasion happening everywhere. Alien ships hovering over cities, people running, soldiers trying to fight back with weapons that did nothing against the alien shields. How are we supposed to fight them? Alice asked as they drove through a small town that was mostly abandoned. Nothing works against them. That's not entirely true, Samantha said. There's something you both don't know. 30 years ago, an alien ship crashed in New Mexico. It was small, just a scout ship. The government kept it secret. They've been studying the technology ever since. Frank looked at her in shock. You're saying we have alien tech? Not just any alien tech. Hegemony tech. From the same aliens that are attacking us now. My brother is one of the scientists who's been working on it. In space, Zixvar was pleased with the initial attack. Human defenses were falling exactly as predicted. Their missiles couldn't penetrate hegemony shields. Their aircraft were shot down easily. Begin landing ground troops, he ordered. Start with their largest cities and military bases. But then something strange happened. A report came in from a ship over a place called Colorado. Admiral, we're experiencing some kind of interference in Sector 7, the ship's captain reported. Our weapon systems are failing. Failing? How is that possible? Zixvar demanded. Unknown, sir, but our scans show a facility buried deep in the mountains. It's heavily shielded, we can't get readings on what's inside. Zixvar felt a small worry begin to grow. This wasn't in the reports. The humans weren't supposed to have shielding technology. Focus your attack there, he ordered. Whatever it is, destroy it. On Earth, Samantha, Frank, and Alice had been driving for 2 days. They avoided main roads, which were either clogged with people trying to escape or patrolled by alien ground forces. These aliens were tall with forearms and scaled skin. They wore armor that seemed to absorb bullets. We're almost there, Samantha said as they drove into the mountains of Colorado. The facility is built inside the mountain. It's called Deep Shield. Suddenly they saw alien ships in the sky above them, firing at the mountain ahead. They found it, Samantha said, speeding up. We need to get there now. They drove straight toward a solid rock face. Frank and Alice looked worried, but Samantha kept driving. At the last moment, a hidden door opened in the rock and they drove inside. The door closed behind them. They were in a large tunnel that led deeper into the mountain. Military personnel with advanced-looking weapons approached their jeep. "Captain Miller," one of them said, "your brother is expecting you." They were led through the facility, which was huge. Scientists and soldiers worked together. They passed rooms with strange technology that didn't look like anything made on Earth. Finally, they reached a large control room where Dr. Peter Miller was working. "Sam," he said, hugging his sister, "I was worried you wouldn't make it." "It was close," Samantha said. "The aliens are attacking this facility. They know something's here." Peter nodded. "They should be worried. We're their worst nightmare." He turned to a large screen showing a map of the world. Red dots showed alien ships. "For 30 years we've been preparing, studying their technology, learning their weaknesses. But if we have their tech, why did we let them attack?" Frank asked. "Because we needed them to think we were defenseless," Peter explained. "We've been hiding our true capabilities, showing the world only what we wanted the aliens to see. Basic space travel, simple weapons. If they knew what we really had, they would have sent their entire fleet, not just this invasion force." "So what do we really have?" Alice asked. Peter smiled and pressed a button on his console. Across the facility, lights brightened. Machines hummed to life. "We have their weapons, their shields, and most importantly, we understand how they think." He looked at Samantha. "It's time to activate the Unified Earth Defense Protocol. Every major nation has a facility like this one, hidden from public view. We've been working together in secret for decades." On his ship, Zixvar watched in confusion as his forces reported failures across the planet. Ships were losing power. Weapons wouldn't fire. Communications were breaking down. "What is happening?" he demanded. "Unknown, Admiral," Krell said, looking worried. "But we're detecting energy signatures that match our own technology, coming from human facilities." Zixvar felt cold fear for the first time. "How is that possible? They're primitive." A transmission came through on their main screen. It showed a human female in a military uniform. "Captain Samantha Miller." "Attention, hegemony forces," she said. "This is Earth. You thought we were primitive. You were wrong. We've been watching you for longer than you've been watching us. And now you'll see what humans do when threatened." The screen went dark. Alarms began to sound throughout the ship. Zixvar realized with horror that he had made a terrible mistake. The humans weren't primitive at all. They had been waiting. And now his forces were trapped. Peter Miller typed quickly on his keyboard. Screens around him showed alien ships all over the world. Some were flashing red, showing they were having problems. "What exactly did we do to them?" Samantha asked her brother as she watched. "We activated a virus," Peter explained. "Remember that crashed ship from 30 years ago? We learned their computer language from it. For decades, we've been creating a virus that can get into their systems. They never thought we could understand their technology, so they never created defenses against us." Frank and Alice watched in amazement as more alien ships on the screens began to flash red. "The virus doesn't work on all their ships," Peter continued, "but it's working on enough to give us a chance. Now we need to use our other secret weapons." He pressed a button on his communication panel. "This is Deep Shield, Colorado. Phase 1 complete. Begin Phase 2. Across the world, hidden bases like the one in Colorado began to reveal themselves. In Russia, a mountain opened up to show a base filled with special weapons. In Brazil, a facility hidden under the rainforest activated powerful communication systems. In Australia, ships that didn't look like they were made on Earth rose from underwater bases. "How many of these bases do we have?" Frank asked. "One in every major country," Peter said. After the crash, world leaders realized we needed to work together secretly. They created the Unified Earth Defense Protocol. Each country built a base and worked on different alien technologies. We shared what we learned. "And no one knew?" Alice asked. "Only those who needed to know," Samantha explained. "The world wasn't ready for the truth, So we let everyone think countries were still fighting each other. It kept the aliens from seeing us as a threat. In his ship, Zixvar was now very worried. Half of his fleet was having problems. Some ships couldn't move. Others couldn't use their weapons. His plans were falling apart. How did they do this? He asked Krell, who was checking the ship's systems. They somehow got into our computers, Krell said. It's like they know how our technology works. Suddenly, their scanners showed new objects rising from Earth. They were ships, human ships. But they didn't look like the simple spacecraft the hegemony had seen before. These were sleek, powerful vessels that looked almost like hegemony ships. Impossible, Zixvar whispered. His communication screen came on again. This time it showed Peter Miller. This is Earth Defense Command to Hegemony Forces, Peter said. For 30 years we've been preparing for you. We knew you were watching us, we knew you would come, so we let you see what we wanted you to see. The screen changed to show videos of the crashed alien ship, of scientists working on alien technology, of secret bases being built. You thought we were divided, Peter continued. You thought our nations couldn't work together. That was what we wanted you to think. In truth, we've been united against you for decades. Zixvar watched in horror as human ships began to attack his disabled fleet. The humans were using weapons that could penetrate hegemony shields. They were using tactics that showed they understood hegemony weaknesses. All ships, Zixvar ordered. Retreat to defense position Alpha. We need to regroup. But many ships couldn't respond. The virus had spread too far. Back in the Colorado base, Samantha was put in charge of a team of pilots. They would fly the new Earth Defense Force ships against the aliens. These ships had been built using a mix of human and alien technology. These vessels have shields like theirs, she told her pilots as they prepared, and weapons that can hurt them. But remember, we're still learning how to use this technology. Be careful. Frank and Alice were given special roles too. Frank would join a ground team that would fight alien soldiers who had already landed. Alice would work with communication experts to keep human forces connected. We've been training for this day for years, Peter told them. Now it's time to show the hegemony what humans can really do. Across Earth, the battle began to change. Human forces used their hidden technology to fight back. Regular military units were given new weapons that could hurt the aliens. Pilots flew new aircraft with better shields. In space, Samantha led her team against a group of hegemony ships. Their ships were smaller but faster. They could fly in ways the bigger alien ships couldn't. Target their engine sections, she told her pilots. That's their weak point. The human ships fired strange blue beams that cut through alien shields. Several hegemony vessels began to drift, damaged and powerless. On the ground, Frank led his team against alien soldiers in what used to be Denver. The aliens were strong and had 4 arms, making them dangerous fighters. But Frank's team had special armor and weapons designed to fight them. Aim for the gaps in their armor, Frank told his soldiers. Under their arms and at their neck joints. The fighting was hard, but the humans began to push the aliens back. The aliens were confused by how much the humans knew about them. In the communication center, Alice helped keep all Earth forces connected. The aliens tried to jam their signals, but the humans were using systems based on alien technology that the hegemony couldn't block. We're getting reports from all over the world, she told Peter. Our forces are pushing them back in most places. Zixvar watched as his invasion fell apart. More than half his ships were now damaged or destroyed. Ground forces were being defeated by humans who seemed to know exactly how to fight them. We need to retreat, Krell suggested. Return to the hegemony. Bring back more ships. Zixvar nodded slowly. This was supposed to be an easy conquest. Now it was a disaster. But if they could escape, they could return with a much larger force. Prepare the jump drives, he ordered. All remaining ships, prepare to leave this system. But as they began to power up their jump drives, more alarms sounded. Sir, something is blocking our jump drives, a crew member reported. We can't create a stable jump point. On Earth, Peter smiled as he watched his screens. They're trying to run, he told Samantha, who had returned from her successful mission. But they can't. We've created a field around the planet that disrupts their jump technology. "So they're trapped?" Samantha asked. "Yes, and now we can finish this." Peter sent a message to all Earth forces. "The enemy cannot escape. Focus all. Attacks on their remaining ships. Today we take back our planet." Zixvar realized they were in serious trouble. They couldn't escape, and the humans were getting stronger by the hour as they learned to use their new weapons better. "How did we not see this?" he asked nobody in particular. "How did we not know?" Krell had no answer. The mighty hegemony, which had conquered hundreds of worlds, was being defeated by a species they had thought was primitive, and as more human ships rose to attack, Zixvar knew that his worst fears were coming true. The hegemony was about to lose a war for the first time in its long history. "We thought they were primitive," he said quietly. "But they were waiting for us all along." 3 weeks passed since the aliens first attacked Earth. The humans were winning, but the war wasn't over yet. Some hegemony ships still fought in space. Alien soldiers still held parts of major cities. But every day, they lost more ground. In the Colorado Command Center, now called Earth Defense Headquarters, Samantha met with military leaders from around the world. Some were there in person, others joined through secure video links. "We've pushed them back in most areas," said General Paul Martinez from the United States Army. "But they're still strong in parts of Asia and Africa. Their main command ship is still operational too," added Admiral Diane Foster from the new Earth Space Fleet. "It's moved to a position behind the moon where it's harder for us to reach." Peter brought up a map showing alien positions around the world. "We need to finish this," he said. "As long as their leader, this Admiral Zixvar, is still out there, Earth isn't safe." Samantha stood up. Over the past weeks, she had become one of the top commanders in the fight against the aliens. Her success in space battles had earned her respect from military leaders worldwide. "I have a plan," she said. "But it's risky." She explained her idea. They would let the aliens think they had found a weakness in Earth's defenses. They would make it look like one area was less protected. When the aliens attacked that spot, they would spring a trap. "The goal is to capture Zixvar," Samantha finished. "From what we've learned about hegemony culture, their forces might surrender if we have their leader." The military leaders talked about the plan. Some thought it was too dangerous. Others said it might work. In the end, they agreed to try it. Frank Jones would lead the ground part of the mission. His team had become experts at fighting alien soldiers. Alice Wright would coordinate communications, making sure all forces worked together perfectly. As the meeting ended, Peter pulled Samantha aside. "This is dangerous, Sam," he said. "You'll be putting yourself right in the enemy's path." "I know," she replied, "but we need to end this. People are still dying every day." On his command ship behind the moon, Zixvar was trying to save what was left of his invasion force. Most of his ships were destroyed or captured. Many of his soldiers were dead or taken prisoner. It was the worst defeat in hegemony history. "We've detected a gap in their defenses," Krell reported. "Over this area called the Pacific Ocean. Their satellite coverage is weaker there." Zixvar studied the information. After weeks of losses, this might be their chance to strike back, or at least to find a way to escape and return to hegemony space. "It could be a trap," he said. "It could be," Krell agreed. "But we're running out of options. Our supplies are low. Our troops are tired. If we don't do something soon, we won't survive." Zixvar thought for a long moment. "Prepare our remaining ships," he finally ordered. "We will attack this weak point." The hegemony forces gathered for what might be their final battle. They had 5 large ships left, including Zixvar's command vessel. They also had about 2,000 soldiers. It was a small force compared to what they had started with, but it was still dangerous. On Earth, Samantha and her team watched as the alien ships moved into position. "They took the bait," she said. "All units, prepare for Operation Endgame." Frank and his ground forces hit on islands in the Pacific. They had special underwater vehicles that could move quickly when needed. Alice coordinated from a submarine that stayed deep below the surface where alien sensors couldn't find it. "Remember," Samantha told everyone, "we want to capture Zixvar alive if possible. His knowledge could be valuable." The trap was set. Now they waited for the aliens to spring it. Sixvar's ships entered Earth's atmosphere over the Pacific Ocean. Their scanners showed minimal human defenses in the area, just a few small islands with no major weapons. "This is our chance," Sixvar said. "We'll establish a base here, then use it to launch attacks on their major defense centers." The alien ships lowered toward the water. They planned to hide some vessels underwater where human satellites would have trouble finding them. That's when the trap closed. From beneath the waves, huge platforms rose up. They carried powerful energy weapons salvaged from destroyed alien ships. From the islands, Frank and his soldiers launched in their fast attack vehicles. And from space, Samantha led a group of Earth's new battleships that had been hiding on the far side of the planet. "All units, attack," Samantha ordered. The energy platforms fired first, hitting 3 alien ships before they could raise their shields. Frank's team targeted the engines of the remaining vessels. Samantha's ships closed in from above, cutting off any escape to space. Inside, his command ship Sixvar realized too late that he had been tricked. "Evasive maneuvers!" he shouted. "Get us out of here!" But it was too late. His ship shook as human weapons struck it again and again. Systems failed throughout the vessel. Fires broke out on lower decks. "Admiral," Krell said, "we can't survive this. We need to surrender." Sixvar couldn't believe what he was hearing. Surrender. The hegemony never surrendered. But as he looked at the screens showing human forces surrounding them, he knew they had no choice. "Send the surrender signal," he said quietly. The battle ended quickly after that. The remaining alien ships lowered their shields and powered down their weapons. Human forces boarded the vessels, taking control and capturing the crews. Samantha herself led the team that entered Sixvar's command ship. Frank and his soldiers went with her, making sure it was safe. They fought through a few aliens who didn't want to surrender, but most gave up without fighting. Finally, they reached the bridge. Sixvar stood there, tall and proud even in defeat. His 6 eyes watched as the humans entered, their weapons pointed at him. "Admiral Sixvar," Samantha said, "in the name of Earth and all its people, I'm placing you under arrest for war crimes against humanity." The alien commander looked at the human female in front of him. She was so small compared to him, yet she had led the forces that defeated his mighty fleet. "How?" he asked simply. "How did you defeat us?" Samantha stepped closer. "Because you made a mistake. You thought technology was everything. But humans have something more important. We adapt. We work together when we need to. And we never, ever give up." As Sixvar was led away, the news of his capture spread around the world. People celebrated in the streets of cities that were still partly destroyed from the initial attacks. The war wasn't completely over. There were still alien forces to deal with. But the main threat was gone. In the Colorado headquarters, Peter received reports from around the world. The remaining alien soldiers were surrendering now that their leader was captured. The victory was even bigger than they had hoped. "We did it," he told Alice, who was helping coordinate the cleanup operations. "We actually beat them." "But what happens now?" she asked. "They'll send more ships when they learn what happened here." Peter nodded. He had been thinking about that. Problem 2. "That's why we need to talk to Sixvar. We need to learn everything we can about the hegemony, about their worlds, their defenses." "You're thinking of taking the fight to them," Alice realized. "They came to our home and tried to destroy us," Peter said. "We need to make sure they never try again." 1 month after capturing Sixvar, Earth began to rebuild. Cities damaged in the invasion were being fixed. The world was more united than ever before. Nations that once fought each other now worked together to prepare for what might come next. A special facility built deep under the United Nations building in New York, Samantha Miller sat across from Sixvar. The alien admiral was not in chains, but special devices around the room would stop him if he tried anything dangerous. "You've asked many questions about my people," Sixvar said. "Now I have a question for you. What will you do with me?" "That depends on you," Samantha replied. "Help us understand the hegemony and you'll be treated well." Sixvar's 6 eyes blinked slowly. "You don't understand what you're dealing with." The hegemony has conquered thousands of worlds. What happened here was just one small defeat. Then, help us understand, Samantha said. How big is the hegemony? How many ships do they have? Where are their main worlds? The alien was quiet for a moment. Then he made a sound that might have been a sigh. The hegemony spans 3 spiral arms of this galaxy. We have millions of ships. Hundreds of species serve us. Some willingly, most not. And they'll come looking for you, Samantha guessed. Eventually, Zixvar agreed. When my ships don't return, they will send others. Maybe not right away. The Y Empire is large and your world is far from our center, but they will come. Samantha left the room thinking about what she had learned. She met Peter, Frank, and Alice in a conference room nearby. He's finally talking, she told them. And what he's saying is not good. The hegemony is much bigger than we thought. Peter nodded. We figured as much. That's why we've been studying the alien ships we captured. We think we can use their jump drive technology to send our own ships to other star systems. You want to take the fight to them, Frank said. It wasn't a question. We have to, Peter replied. If we wait for them to come back, they'll send a force we can't beat. But if we strike first, hit some of their outer worlds, maybe we can make them think twice. Alice looked worried. Are we ready for that? Fighting a war across star systems? We have to be, Samantha said. We've learned so much from their technology already, and we have something they don't expect. Zixvar himself. He knows their defenses, their tactics. The 4 of them spent hours planning. They would need to build more ships, train more pilots and soldiers, learn everything they could from Zixvar and the captured aliens. 2 months later, Earth was ready to launch its first mission beyond the solar system. 10 ships built using hegemony technology were prepared for the jump to a nearby star. Samantha would lead the mission. The ships were loaded with Earth's best soldiers and pilots. Frank would command the ground forces if they needed to land. Alice had developed new communication systems that would let them stay in touch with Earth, even from other star systems. Peter stood on the launch platform with Samantha before she boarded her ship. You're making history, he told his sister. The first humans to travel to another star. Let's hope we come back, she replied. The target world has a small hegemony base. If Zixvar's information is correct, they won't be expecting us. Just be careful, Peter said. This isn't about conquering. It's about showing them we can hit back. Make them think twice about coming after Earth again. Samantha nodded and hugged her brother. Then she climbed aboard her ship named Defender. The other vessels had similar names: Guardian, Protector, Shield. They were not built for conquest, but to defend humanity. On the bridge of Defender, Samantha took her place in the command chair. The crew worked at their stations, checking systems and preparing for the jump. All ships report ready, her second-in-command said. Then let's make history, Samantha replied. Activate jump drives. The 10 ships rose into space. When they cleared Earth's atmosphere, their engines glowed bright blue. Space seemed to bend around them. Then, in flashes of light, they were gone. The jump felt strange, like being stretched and compressed at the same time. It lasted only a few seconds, but it felt longer to the crews. Then they were there. Another star system. A red sun with 7 planets. Their target was the 4th one, a rocky world with a B. Thin atmosphere. The hegemony had a small base there used for monitoring this sector of space. All ships active scanning, Samantha ordered. Let's see what we're dealing with. The scans showed 3 hegemony ships in orbit around the planet. They were small compared to the invasion force that had attacked Earth, but still dangerous. They've spotted us, the sensor operator reported. They're powering up weapons. All ships battle formation, Samantha ordered. Remember your training. We know their weaknesses now. The Earth ships spread out, using tactics they had developed during the battles around their home planet. The hegemony vessels seemed confused by their approach. They weren't following standard attack patterns. They're trying to contact us, the communications officer said. Put them through, Samantha replied. A hegemony officer appeared on the screen. He looked similar to Zixvar but with darker scales. His 6 eyes widened when he saw humans on the bridge of what looked like a hegemony ship. "What is this?" he demanded. "Where did you get that vessel?" "This is Captain Samantha Miller of Earth," she replied. "Your forces attacked our world. We defeated them. Now we're returning the favor." The alien looked shocked. "Impossible. No primitive species could defeat a hegemony invasion force." "Check your records," Samantha said. "Ask about Admiral Zixvar and his fleet. Then decide if you want to fight us or surrender." The communication cut off. The 3 hegemony ships began to move, trying to form a defensive pattern. "They're going to fight," Frank said. He had joined Samantha on the bridge for this mission. "Then we'll show them what Earth can do," she replied. "All ships engage targets. Disable if possible, destroy if necessary." The battle was short but intense. The Earth ships used everything they had learned from studying hegemony technology. They targeted weak points in the alien shields. They used maneuvers the hegemony had never seen before. Within 20 minutes, 2 alien ships were disabled and drifting. The third was damaged but still fighting. "Final warning," Samantha transmitted to the remaining ship. "Surrender or be destroyed." There was a pause. Then the alien ship powered down its weapons. "We surrender," came the reply. Frank led teams to board the captured vessels. They secured the alien crews and gathered all the information they could find from the ship's computers. Meanwhile, Samantha prepared to send a message back to Earth. They had won their first battle beyond the solar system. They had shown the hegemony that humans could reach them, could fight them on their own territory. "This is just the beginning," she told her crew as they secured the system. "Now we need to make sure the hegemony gets the message. Earth is not to be attacked again." 3 years passed since Earth's first mission to another star. In that time, everything changed. Humans went from defending their own world to attacking hegemony bases across dozens of star systems. Earth ships, built using alien technology, carried the fight deeper and deeper into enemy space. Zixvar sat in a comfortable room that was both his home and his prison. The walls were painted a soft blue. There were books and screens for him to use. He was treated well, but he was never allowed to leave. The door opened and Samantha Miller walked in. She wore the uniform of the Earth Defense Fleet Admiral now. The last 3 years had made her one of the most important humans on the planet. "You look tired," Zixvar said. "We've been busy," Samantha replied, sitting across from him. "Your people don't give up easily." "They never have," the alien said. "But I've been watching the reports you let me see. Your forces have taken 17 major hegemony bases now." Samantha nodded. "And we've found allies, other species who were conquered by the hegemony and want freedom. This was the biggest surprise in their war against the alien empire. As Earth forces moved from system to system, they found other intelligent species who hated their hegemony rulers. Many were willing to fight alongside humans once they saw it was possible to defeat the empire. The Valari are particularly grateful," Samantha continued. "Your people have controlled their homeworld for 300 years. The Valari are dangerous," Zixvar warned. "They helped us conquer other worlds before they turned against us." "Everyone deserves a second chance," Samantha said. "Even the hegemony. That's why I'm here. We're approaching the hegemony core worlds now. Before we attack, I want to offer peace one more time." Zixvar's 6 eyes blinked in surprise. "Peace? After all this fighting?" "We never wanted this war," Samantha reminded him. "Your forces attacked us first. We've been fighting to make sure it never happens again." She stood up. "The Earth Council is sending a message to your Emperor. We want the fighting to stop. We want the hegemony to recognize Earth and our allies as free and independent. If they agree, we'll stop our attacks." "And if they refuse?" Zixvar asked. "Then we take the war to the core worlds," Samantha said simply. "We've studied your records. We know where the Emperor lives." After leaving Zixvar, Samantha met with her brother Peter, along with Frank and Alice. The 4 of them had become the main leaders of Earth's war effort. "Do you think the Emperor will agree to peace?" Frank asked. He had led ground forces on a dozen worlds now, freeing alien species from hegemony control. "No," Samantha said. "From everything we've learned about the hegemony, they've never accepted defeat. They've ruled for thousands of years. They think it's their right to control other species." "Then why offer peace at all?" Alice asked. Her work developing communication systems had helped Earth forces coordinate with their new alien allies. "Because we need to try," Peter explained. "We're not like them. We don't want to destroy if we don't have to." The peace offer was sent to the hegemony core worlds. As expected, the Emperor rejected it. His response was simple. "The hegemony does not negotiate with lesser species. Surrender or be destroyed." "Well, we tried," Frank said when they received the message. Samantha nodded. "Prepare the fleet. We move against the core worlds in 1 week." Earth now had hundreds of ships built in orbit around their planet and on friendly alien worlds. They had thousands of trained crew members, and they had allies, 7 different species who had joined them in the fight against the hegemony. The final attack force was massive. 200 Earthships and 300 vessels from their alien allies gathered at a staging area near the hegemony core systems. Samantha addressed the fleet from the bridge of her flagship, now called Justice. "We didn't start this war. We didn't ask for it, but we will finish it. Today we fight not just for Earth, but for every world that wants to be free from hegemony control." The combined fleet jumped into hegemony space. They arrived near the Imperial capital world, a large planet covered in cities. In orbit were hundreds of hegemony warships, their last line of defense. "They're hailing us," the communications officer reported. On the screen appeared an alien that looked similar to Zixvar but with golden scales and elaborate decorations. "Emperor Vex Noth, ruler of the hegemony." "So?" he said, looking at Samantha with his 6 eyes. "The primitive humans have come to the heart of the Empire. Your impudence is remarkable." "We're here to end this war," Samantha replied. "Recognize our independence and the freedom of our allies, and we'll leave your core worlds alone." The Emperor laughed. "You still don't understand. The hegemony has ruled for 10,000 years. We will rule for 10,000 more. Your species is nothing but a brief annoyance in our long history." "Then I'm sorry for what happens next," Samantha said. The battle was the largest in the history of the galaxy. Thousands of ships fired weapons that could destroy entire cities. Fighters darted between larger vessels. The space around the capital world lit up with explosions. Earth forces used tactics the hegemony had never seen before. They had studied alien technology and improved it. They had created new weapons and better shields. And most importantly, they fought as a united force with their allies, while the hegemony ships often acted alone. The fighting lasted for hours. Ships on both sides were destroyed. But slowly, the Earth Alliance gained the upper hand. Their coordinated attacks broke through the hegemony formations. Their improved weapons penetrated Imperial shields. Frank led a team that boarded the Emperor's flagship. They fought their way through corridors filled with elite hegemony guards. Alice coordinated their movements from Justice, making sure they didn't get lost in the massive ship. Finally, they reached the Imperial Command Center. The Emperor stood there, surrounded by his personal guards. "It's over," Frank told him. "Surrender and live." The Emperor looked at the human soldiers with hatred in his eyes. "The hegemony does not surrender." "Then you leave us no choice," Frank replied. The fighting was brief, but intense. When it ended, the Emperor and his guards were defeated. Frank contacted Samantha. "We have the Imperial Command Center," he reported. The Emperor chose to fight rather than surrender. Samantha nodded. She opened a channel to all hegemony ships. "Your Emperor has fallen. Your capital is under our control. This war is over. Power down your weapons and prepare to receive our terms." One by one, the remaining hegemony ships stopped fighting. Their crews had never known defeat. They had never imagined that their mighty empire could fall. But now they had no choice but to accept reality. In his room on Earth, Zixvar watched the reports come in. He saw the images of Earth ships over the Imperial capital. He heard the terms of surrender being announced. We thought they were primitive, he said quietly to himself. We judged them by their technology, not by their spirit or their determination, and now my empire is ashes. As the news of victory reached Earth, people celebrated, but Samantha, Peter, Frank, and Alice knew that the end of the war was just the beginning of something new. Humans were now part of a larger galactic community. They had allies and responsibilities. What happens now? Alice asked as they watched ships return to Earth orbit. Now we build, Samantha replied. Not an empire, but a community, a place where different species can live together in peace. Do you think it will work? Frank wondered. Peter smiled. If anyone can make it work, it's humans. We've proven we can adapt to anything, even the stars themselves.